I don't know. What the hell? What did I just do? Oh, there we go. What's up, Ahmed? Trying to set a goal here. It's not letting me. Oh, here we go. Okay, so oh, that's ridiculous. I set it for $500. Hold on, sorry guys. Hold on, hold on. There we go. Yeah, it's a little too much there, Ahmed. Okay, there we go. Now let's get to it. What's going on, everybody? Thanks for joining in today. I'm going to be tying up some articulated trout streamers. Just getting set up, so bear with me for just another second here. Okay, so this is the fly we're going to be tying up. It's a little, I guess a little stocked rainbow trout imitation. Has worked really well for trout for me. So I got a few different materials in this guy. It's a little bit of an experimental fly that I came up with a few months ago during the fall season. I was throwing this for some fall time brown trout, and it was very successful. So I'm gonna go over the materials here. We're gonna start tying this guy up. Hopefully I'm gonna make it look a little bit better than that. He's been chewed up quite a few times. But let's get after it. Also, I have set a goal, if you can see that in the chat. If we get 10 $5 donations, I will pick a winner to win a free custom fly from me. So any fly of your choice that you want me to tie for you, I will do that. 10 donations, that's our goal today. And we'll keep it going throughout the streams. If it takes a couple of streams to hit our goal, we'll we'll keep it running. Hey, what's up, Brecken? Thanks for joining today. Let's see, what am I missing here? Forgot some marabou. But maybe I can use some ostrich. That will work, but I want a little filler. So on the original design, I have just basically a marabou tail going off of this guy. Let me grab that real quick. But I am out of marabou, so I'm going to do this little trick here. Just use some schlappen. You're a funny guy offshore. No, that was not my New Year's resolution. But I figured when I have some time, I might as well be on here. Parish King, that's really cool. I wish they had some options like that here. I think that's so awesome to have fly tying as an elective. That might be something I have to try to push out there. Oh, Brecken, you don't fly fish, man? You got to get into it. You got to get into it. Even if you don't tie your own flies, it's just a really great excuse to get out there, you know? So when I don't have any marabou for my little marabou tails, like for example, if you're making woolly buggers, you can just use a real fluffy schlappen feather. It'll do the same thing. I'm just gonna palmer this at the back end. And it's gonna create the same little fluffy tail back here. Parish, I am making an articulated trout streamer. More specifically, I designed this fly for brown trout during the fall time. The river that I fish a lot has some really big brown trout, and they stock these silvery white looking rainbows. They don't have much color, so this guy, I wanted to make this really white, silvery and flashy streamer that imitated those 4 or 5 inch stalked little rainbows. That's where this guy came from. Yeah, Brecken, I'd be willing to challenge you on that one. I think anywhere you can find some water, a pond, a lake, a small stream, a river, you can definitely fly fish in it. There you go. You got a nice little replacement for your marabou tail if you don't have any marabou. Works just about the same. Ooh, that's fun offshore. What are you tying eggs that small for? got trout in Florida? Where are you going after trout in Florida? And I'll just wrap back over it a little bit just to make sure all of those fibers are locked in. Keep that tail nice and durable. And oh, you're gonna go to Carolina. Okay, gotcha. Sweet, man. What's up, Ronnie? I'm gonna take some ostrich hurl to give it the two-tone coloration of a, whoops, don't need that much. Two-tone color of the stocked rainbow. Need a little bit more there. Actually, I really like these short fibers here. Yeah, that looks like that'll blend better with the marabou. Let's do that one. A tip on catching trout? Well, first thing you're going to want to do is go get yourself a fly rod. I'm just messing with you, man. Yeah, I'm all fly fishing, dude. So I don't really have any conventional tackle tips for you. But like I said, if you get yourself a fly rod, I've got plenty of knowledge on that stuff. So. Let's see here. Does the fly seem like it's in frame for you guys there? Looked like it was a little bit out of frame. How's that? Maybe a little better. Hey, what's up, Erica? Hey, it's both. I designed this as a trout streamer, but it can definitely be used as a bass fly. A little articulated minnow pattern. Oh, you know what? Yeah, Brooke, and if you're using spinners, I'm thinking back to when I was a kid and I used to throw spinners for trout. My top two favorites were Pistol Pete's and what's the other one? The little Meps. I think they're Meps is what they're called. Dude, I used to kill it on trout with those little spinners. Definitely the Pistol Pete's. Those will catch you some trout, no doubt. No doubt. All right, so we got a little Schlappen and ostrich hurl blend for the tail there. Hadn't done that before, but I like how that looks. That's gonna keep the color consistency going throughout this fly, where I'm gonna keep the white flashy belly and then kind of a gray, dark olive top for a little bit of realism added in there. Get some, well, these are Ewing feathers, but I kind of use them like grizzly hackle. If you have grizzly hackle, it'll work the same way. I like using these ones because they're a little bit longer. Well, they're much longer. And I'm running a little low on it, but I like to find some of these wider feathers like this guy here. This one might be a little bit too wide, but I can always just use what I'm gonna use for this section and save the rest.
Enjoy more ways to save at Smith's, like low prices in every aisle. And you can clip and save more with digital coupons in the Smith's app. Plus, you can earn fuel points to save up to $1 per gallon at the pump.
basically we're just gonna tie a woolly bugger body here, finish off this tail section, and then we'll move on to the body section of this fly. If you want a nice clean finish on your woolies or these type of articulated streamers, I got into a bad habit of wrapping the chenille all the way up to the hook eye. But if you leave yourself one wrap back and leave a little bit of extra space, you'll be able to have a much cleaner finish, and then you can really stack up these hackle wraps right behind the hook eye rather than the chenille. So just pull that back a little bit away from the hook eye. There we go. That'll be plenty of room there. I'm going to space out my hackle wraps a little bit more just so there's some clear, more of like a barred, vertical barring coloration throughout the chenille, and then I save the stacking for the front here, so it has a nice taper and it'll blend in with the next body section. Stack that up pretty heavy. Hey, Ronnie, Erica, thank you guys. Appreciate you. We'll be putting your names in for the wheel. So we only need 8 more donations, guys. 8 more $5 minimum donations. Lupe, thank you so much. Appreciate that. There we go. Got a nice clean finish on that. Pull out that longer fiber there. All right, here's where it starts to get interesting. So the way I like to articulate this type of streamer here is I'll use, what is this? This is Senyo Standard Intruder Trailer wire. So I use a bit of this piece here to tie on the next section. And of course I'm using my favorite Waddington shanks for the body section. Just to give myself enough room, I've got plenty of wire with this, so what I'm going to do is I'll cut, it's about a 5-inch piece of wire, and I'm going to feed this through the hook eye. And to lock this in, I'm going to grab myself a couple, I'm using 3/16 or 4.8 millimeter roundhouse beads, tungsten beads. I'm going to put 2 of these onto the wire, this is gonna have a couple of functions to this. So these beads, I like to use this one because it's not like the slotted, it's got a big, the big round back for you to build up materials. So I'm gonna put that in at that end in first to go against my hook eye. And that's gonna lock that wire in right there. You don't have to put a second one. I like to put this on just for some extra weight. But so it's gonna do two things. It's gonna add some weight so this fly can get down, and then it's gonna add a really nice articulated action. So when I tie this on to the hook shank, this round bead here allows the back hook to really have a lot of wiggle room and give it a ton of action. So now that I have those two beads on, I'll set that down and use my Waddington shank. I just gotta straighten this out real quick.
No time to read? Listen to an audiobook on Libby for free. That's right. Your library has...
No, I didn't invent this fly. This is just it's inspired by a few different articulated streamers. But this is kind of the classic style, classic way to do articulated. The usual way would be to use another hook. Since I have this tail hook, then you would attach another hook, but I only like to use single hooked flies. So what I do is I just use this Waddington shank, since I just want the single tail hook on this guy. So now I can line this up. I gotta turn it sideways like so. And I'm gonna leave just a little bit of room, probably about like that, just to give this tail section enough room to wiggle back there. Give it the action that we want. Get a decent thread base on here. There's a specific technique to keep this wire locked in when you tie this on. There's a name for it, but I forgot what it's called. But here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna keep this wire right on the top. Make sure it's lined up where I want it, just slightly behind that hook shank. I think right there will be good. That should leave enough room. I'm gonna tie that in. Get a good bite on this wire. I'm gonna come up the shank pretty far with it, right to about where I know I'm gonna be stacking up some heavy materials. I'm gonna be putting some bucktail in, so I don't wanna lock this wire in too close to the hook eye, but right about there, a little bit, say 3/4 of the way up. Once you get there, I'm gonna lock that in with a good thread base. Hit it with a little bit of super glue. Hey TNT, thanks man. Long time no see. Good to see you in here, dude. This glue, super glue, gets clogged up every single time. There we go. Just lay down a healthy amount of super glue in there. And then now the most important step is you're going to fold this back over. That's how this, since the hook section is in the back, you want this to be able to bear weight. So you're going to fold this wire right back over like so. So so that it creates a really nice bite in the thread wraps, and it's not going to pull out at all. Same thing, I'll wrap it pretty much all the way back. Make sure it's nice and secure, and there we go. You've got your articulated streamer. These wraps. I want to make sure that the wire is nice and clean off the back here, otherwise it'll interrupt with your action on this fly. I forgot the other piece. Oh no, I got it. There we go. Good thread dam, and that thing's not going anywhere. Oh, I just cut my thread. How many fly boxes do I bring? That depends on what species I'm going after. Generally 1 or 2 at the most. I have my boat box, which is full of all, different forms of streamers that I'll use for pike, bass, or trout. So I always have that one in my boat with me. If I'm just going after trout on a wade trip, something like that, if I'm not going in the boat, I'll just have a single box with my nymphs and small streamers. So not very many. I don't need that many. Otherwise, you're just taking unnecessary boxes that you're not even going to open up. At least that's how it works for me. Ah, I see. Yeah, in that situation, I would probably have extra boxes too, man. Could you not just use like a wire or, 100-pound fluoro or something as a leader to keep those toothy guys from breaking you off? You're funny, Ahmed. I wish that's how it worked for me. There are some rare occasions where it might, but for the most part, it does not work that way. Alright, so this is where this section gets a little complex with the materials. Just a little bit. Nothing too crazy. I'm going to introduce some pine squirrel here. Let's see.
Does it ever feel like you were a marketing professional just...
Yeah, we don't need the ads playing. Let's see. I think I like that one. That'll work. Yeah. So it's either don't catch anything or lose some flies. Alright, so I'm going to stack up a few materials here, basically build another woolly bugger body for the base, but I'm going to have this pine squirrel over the top to start that two-tone variation. So let's go ahead and tie this guy in first, since he's going to be folded over last. The way I like to do that is I'll pull this hair forward and grab just enough of the hide back here to tie it in so that that hair will flow consistently with the rest of the profile. Am I going the wrong? Yep, I was going the wrong way. Thank you guys for joining me today. If you're just coming in, tying up some articulated trout streamers today. Appreciate you stopping by. If you have any questions, feel free to post them in the chat. There we go, and I'll just fold this guy back. If I can get a loop, yeah, this is thin enough. I'll kind of give it a couple wraps to really fold it all the way back into itself. And now I can grab that feather that I just lost. Where'd you go? That's all right. Oh, there it is. Tie this guy back in. When I tie a hackle feather, and I usually like it to lay flat, this way you can kind of turn it either direction and the barbs will end up going the way you want it to. Otherwise the feather will twist kind of funky on you. Hey, what's up, Trips? Yes, it sure is. It sure is. Okay. Let's go forward with this guy. Actually, why don't I go ahead and use my rotary function? I'm gonna go to right there. Stopping right here because I'm going to be stacking up some bucktail to bulk up the profile just a little bit. I still want a nice slim design with this guy. It's imitating a small 2 to 4 inch little bait fish or rainbow fry. Still don't know the dates when I'll be in Denver yet. I will let you guys know. If any of you are in Denver, I will be doing a warm water presentation at the Orvis store in Denver. So if any of you are located there, just stay tuned because because I'll let you guys know the dates here pretty soon. It should be within the next few weeks, definitely sometime in February. And I will be up there. Okay, now we're gonna fold this pine scroll over. Actually, let me get some more wraps on this guy here. I fold this over and make sure to kind of pull it somewhat tight. Add some pressure on there. You want it to be flush with the rest of the materials. You don't want a gap between your hide and your chenille here. Just like that. Cinch that down. There we go. Let's lock that baby in. There should be plenty of room for the rest of the materials to add. I'm going to do a UV head with some living eyes to finish it off. But before I do that, I want to bulk up the front of this profile just a little bit. And the way I'm going to do that is by first I'm going to add some flash with and add a little EP fiber in here. Not too much, I just want enough to bring some of this UV flash in. Let's see. Don't want this too long, so I don't think I'm gonna wrap it on. I'm just gonna take a couple of bundles, cut them off of this EP brush. I don't need a lot, less is more. A little bit more than that. Hey, what's up, Sima? Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. There we go. That should be plenty right there. Just gonna thin that base out a little bit. Don't need all that in the fly. And so this flash is evenly distributed. I'm going to come up from the front of the hook eye. So it creates that cone shape all the way around. Gets flash everywhere, nice and even. Hey, what's up, John? I actually just came up with this recipe a couple months ago for the fall season. I was targeting some fall-time brown trout, and it was a very successful fly this year. We had some really great catches. So basically, it's just to imitate a rainbow fry, or a stocked rainbow in the 3 to 4 inch size range. There we go. And actually, I'll just go ahead and fold this back into itself, just for a little extra and for durability. Just kind of do like a hollow tie. go. That'll create a good base for the bucktail. Make a nice transition with the thread. There we go. I got a little flash in there. And actually I'm going to do one more stack of flash, but I'm going to use some polar flash for this one. Let me grab that real quick. Same thing, I don't need too much. I'm gonna take a small strand, and if you take a long piece, you can fold this into itself however many times, so you can double or even triple up your flash. So I'll tie it in to about the length that I need. I'm not going further than the articulated section where the beads are. That's about where I want this section to be stacked up to. I can always trim it later, but I'm gonna stack it in right about, let's see, just right where the beads are at. Yeah, I'm just gonna do a couple stacks in this one. So my second stack, I'll fold it in a little bit shorter so there's a good taper. And once you have it tied in, just kind of spread it around a little bit, or to your liking. And you can lock that in. Okay, so now we can throw some bucktail on here. So I'm going to do white to spread around the hook shank, and then I'll do a final stack with some dark olive to keep that two-tone going over the top. Same thing I did with the EP fiber. Come on from the front. Should be evenly distributed around the hook shank. And these can go just slightly past the beads. I'm looking right at the tips of the bucktail. And they're gonna go just past the beads. I'll do a light wrap, a couple light wraps just to hold its place before cinching it down, just to make sure it's at where I want it. Actually, it looks spot on already. Hey, what's up, babe? How you doing today, man? There we go. Get that to flare out. We're gonna cut all this off. This is meant to be a sparse material fly, which I don't usually do, and I usually have a hard time with this because I like stacking up a lot of material into my big pike streamers, but this, you don't want too much bucktail stacked in there. Keep it flaring. I'll go through and hack all these guys out of there. Before I start wrapping any more, I'm going to take my last bucktail stack. I'm just going to keep this one on the top. Grab some dark olive here. Too much chartreuse in it. How about this guy? I do like that one. It's got a little bit of green in it, but it'll work. Happens to me all the time, Alvin. All the time. You know, that might be a little too green. I'm not liking that one. I don't have any actual olive bucktail that would work out much better, but I'm just kind of picking through this chartreuse that has some of the darker pieces. Here we go, this one might work better. Yeah, I like that much better. Yeah, it'd be a lot easier to pick through it, but luckily this chartreuse has some dark spots like this guy here. And then I just pick out the chartreuse because I don't need that in it. Chartreuse fibers poking out. That'll work. Just make sure that stays on the top. So I'm going to pinch that hard with my left hand, and when I come over, I do a couple of loose wraps, and then I can pinch that. Start pinching it right away. don't want it to spin around like the white. And right here, I'll actually use some of this bucktail to bulk up the head a bit, because this is where I'm going to glue my eyes and do my UV resin head. Some of these short ends a little bit. Now let's create our thread head. Yeah, it looks pretty good to me. Keep it sparse. That chenille has flash in it, and you know the polar flash really stands out on the bottom. Creates a nice profile. So now all I'm doing is trying to create a cone shape with my thread, just to have a base, a foundation for my eyes when I glue them on, and it'll make it easier to not have to use so much glue to create a head on this guy. So I'm basically just bulking up the back closest to the materials and then tapering it down to the hook eye and back up. And down again. Hey, there he is. What's up, Flycraft? You got me, man. I'm catching sculpin bugs with this fly. Good to see you, dude. You ready to start doing some live streaming? If you guys don't know Flycraft here, you guys gotta go give him a follow. Go subscribe. He's got some high quality stuff. He does some really cool dry flies, some awesome nymphs. He's got some good content, so go check him out. Now this just looks like a big mess, but just hold on a second. Before I do any gluing, I'm going to match the color up here a little bit. I'm gonna get some dark olive and hit the top of my thread wrap so I got consistent color. And this is why you only see me using white thread, because I like to color it up different ways, put a hot spot on it, blend it in with the color of my streamer. So it's just easier to, when I go buy my thread, I just stock up on all white. And I just use these alcohol markers to color it up. There you go, man. Well, it is the season, right? We're coming up on spring cleaning and all that. You know, everybody's getting reorganized and ready for the summer, so might as well get ahead of it, right? So that when spring comes, you can spend more time fishing than cleaning. There we go, that matches perfectly. Then I just just like to take some red on the underside for a little flared out gill look. Right at the base, right by my materials. Still leave a little bit of white in the bottom, but just some red like that. Yeah, that's what I've been doing, man. It's starting to feel like winter a lot more. It has its days, it goes back and forth, but for the most part, it's been feeling like winter here. No snow yet, just in the mountains, which I'm fine with that. That's where we need it. Alright, get a little closer here so you guys can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to use my super glue to add my eyes. This is just a placeholder. The UV glue is really what adds the durability for these eyes and the head. It's also going to add a weight balance between where those beads are and the head of the fly. It's going to keep this fly swimming vertically in the water column. Let that glue get a little tacky. And I want the eye much closer to the material than I do to the hook eye, because it's going to build a much better head. And I'm just looking at it from the front, making sure it's lined up right. Super glue sets your eyes in place, so this is an important step. Alright. What's up, John B? Thanks for stopping in, man. As many years as I've been using these living eyes, I still am uncertain about which direction they're supposed to go. They have a little point on the pupil, and I can't tell whether that's supposed to go forward or if it's supposed to go back. It doesn't really make a difference to how it looks. Either way, it looks good, but I don't know if they meant for it to be like that. Gunk that eye up with glue. Hey, well, thanks, John. Appreciate that. It's been a lot of years of practice. YouTube University. Learning from some of the best fly tyers in the industry. Fly tying is just kind of one of those things that's trial and error. You just gotta try, you fail, and you get back to the vise and you do it again. Until you get it right. If you're just coming in, thank you for joining me today. Tying up some articulated trout streamers. This one in particular I designed to target brown trout during the spawning season. Well, pre-spawn, I guess I should say. I don't like to fish for them while they're spawning, but the pre-spawn is a good time to go after them because those males are looking for their their territory and they get pretty aggressive. So a fly like this is an excellent choice for making some brown trout angry. Sweet, that looks good. Proportions look spot on. I like it. Now time to create the UV. Let me just make sure that's in place. Lined up right. Looks good. Yep, spot on. So the other thing too that I pay attention to when I am gluing on the eyes is you want there to be more of a bucket here on the bottom. So when you glue your eyes on, more of the UV resin is going to be held at the bottom of the fly, and that's going to get it to turn right over like you want it, because this hook point is going down. You know, the fly itself is going to balance out well with these tungsten beads in the middle, and then a UV head at the front. It's going to balance the weight out perfectly. So this thing will actually swim by itself in the current. I've seen it many times where you can just cast this fly out there, let it sit in a current, and this thing will wiggle all by itself. Like, it will have its own articulated action because of the weight balance between the beads and the UV resin head. So really important to make sure you've got more of a pocket underneath your head right here when you glue your flies on than you do on top. And that's just going to distribute the weight the way it should be. It looks better than the chewed up one. Yeah, this one still looks pretty good, but you know, you can tell it's been chewed up a little bit. It's losing some feathers on the tail. But this one caught some nice, really nice browns this season, so you know, it got chewed up pretty good. But here we go. I'll show you exactly how I do the UV head here. Get this guy going. And for these larger applications, I don't like to use the precision tip on my UV bottle. I'll just take the whole thing off so I can really pack this glue in there. Get it all around the eyes. And this is also why I like using white thread, because when you choose the colors in the head of the fly, when you finish it off, and then you put this UV resin, it really makes those colors pop. So you're gonna see I got the olive top and then the red gills. Once this cures, that UV resin really makes it all pop nicely. And I'm using thin UV by Loon. So it's not quite as thin as Flow, and not quite as thick as thick. So you can really work with it a little bit slower. I'm gonna spin it to get it to go everywhere I want it to go. That looks pretty good for a first layer. Just give it a quick spin. Hit it with the light. Again, you guys have probably heard me say this a few times already, but I do not have a UV flashlight, so all I have is my big UV lamp off to the right. Otherwise, I would just hit it with the flashlight. I need to get one already. It just makes it more convenient. What's up, Infinite Rose? Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate you guys coming in to watch. If you're just coming in, I'm also doing a giveaway. If you donate a minimum of $5 and we hit our 10 donation goal, I will give the winner a choice, any custom fly they want from me. So we just got to get 7 more $5 donations. And we will spin a wheel to see who the winner is of a free custom fly. So if you wanted to get this fly made for you, I would happily tie this one up for you. This fly has been tested. It is guide proven. Myself and many of my clients have caught some big trout on this guy. So I'm going to do a second layer. I'll do as many layers as I need to, but generally I'll hit it with 2 layers should be pretty good, just because I don't want too much weight on the front end here. I don't want to create that kind of jigging action with this fly. I like that vertical, the vertical swim. Will these work in the Mississippi River? I would say so. I would think these would work in the Mississippi. What's in the Mississippi? You got smallmouth, I would assume. What else you got in there? Hey, thanks Flycraft, appreciate you, man. Come do a little spin. Muddy Mississippi catfish and crappie. I think this thing would catch crappie for sure. All right, Flycraft, take it easy, man. Appreciate you stopping by. All right, guys. There you go. You know, this will, I mean, like I said earlier, this is, with my design, it was imitating a rainbow fry or a stalked rainbow. But, I mean, this will look like a shad. This will look like a shiner. You know, it'll imitate anything that's white and flashy. So, it's a good imitation to try out. All right, Ahmed. Thanks for stopping by, my friend. Appreciate you. Let's get this guy out of the vise and look at his full profile. Yeah, perfect. That bucktail is laying exactly where I want it. Once it gets wet, what I like to do, well, if you've seen me tie up my big pike and musky flies, what I like to do with bucktail is I'll wet it under the sink and then blow dry it so it's all slicks back into the profile. But this isn't too bad. It looks pretty good. It's a little bit flared out, more flared out than I want it, but once it gets wet and it dries, it pretty much stays back to create a nice slim profile. But it's got a nice amount of flash in the belly. The bucktail's nice and thin to show the flash from the bead, and the flash from the polar flash, and then the UV flash in the craft fur EP brush. But that's it right there. Cool little articulated. I'm gonna let this guy sit over here to cure. All right. Is carp the same as crappie? No, carp and crappie are very different fish. Very different fish. Crappie is a panfish, where carp is, I don't know, they had the reputation of being bottom feeders, but I beg to differ nowadays with when I've been recently targeting more carp on the fly. They don't always feed on the bottom. So, but yes, carp and crappie are very different. Very different there. All right, guys, let's tie up a super buggy pattern that I was tying yesterday. I'll give you a little preview. Let's see, this guy's all cured up now and done. He's finished, trimmed up. This is my extra buggy. I call it the Bass Burger. It's my intention was as a Hellgrammite imitation, but you know, this could look like a crayfish, it could look like a damselfly, whatever. Something buggy, you know, bass like buggy stuff. So I'm gonna tie one of these guys up. This is my olive version, but I'm gonna do a black one today. Let's do a black one. I've got some new ideas today. Awesome, man. Awesome. That's what I come on here for. I'm glad you got some good ideas to try up. Keep the inspiration flowing. Let me know too, guys. Like, yeah, you know, I have the community on the page, so if you guys tie up some cool patterns that were inspired, that I helped you inspire, post them in the community. I'd really like to see your patterns, your catches. Post your catches in there. I want to see this, see what you guys are doing out there. Let me just clean up a second here. Intermission. Grab your snacks. Grab your drinks. We're about to start another fly. The new fly will be tied momentarily.
A month? Yes, really. Right now with Tello, you can get an unlimited phone plan for just $10 a month for your first 6 months.
Well, thanks, Infinite. Appreciate you.
No contracts, no upfront 6-month payment required. This isn't about sacrificing on quality. It's about choosing better and spending less. Stop overpaying for your phone plan. Your budget deserves better. Get this deal at Tello.com.
All right, Ronnie's giving her donation away. Let's see. Who wants to enter in the drawing? Anybody in the chat? You have a free donation from Ronnie there. If you want to claim it, you got to be the first one to comment. Let's go. And I'll put your name in for the drawing for a free custom fly. Nobody wants it? Come on now. Who doesn't want a free custom fly? Just type yes in the chat. First one to go gets the free donation. All right, guess nobody wants it. Nobody's gonna claim it. Nobody wants their name into a drawing for a free custom fly. Lupe, you're already in the drawing. Okay, Carol. We got Carol on the claiming the $5 reward there. All right. So we've got 4 donations, 4 names. Carol will throw your name in there. You'll have a chance to win a free custom fly. Okay, let's see what we got here. Almost there, guys, almost there. That fly took a little bit of materials for me. All right. Let me adjust the camera here, get zoomed in right. This is what we're going to be tying up next. Black, we got some rubber legs, and we got some peacock curl. I just need some. Just need some hackle. All right. I guess I'm already zoomed in pretty much right there. Looks lined up. With it. So do a similar thing here. I'm going to be using a size 6 860 fire hole. That's the hook I'm using there. And then I'm going to extend the body off the back of this hook with a Waddington shank. Very similar to the one you just saw me using. I'm using partridge Waddington shank. This is a 25 millimeter. Hey, Kitsu Kid's back with the jewels. Thanks, Kitsu Kid. Alright guys, let's get after this. Let me get my thread started first. Oh, I'm glad to hear it, Carol. That's awesome. Well, thanks for being here, guys. I appreciate you coming in. Don't be afraid to ask any questions. Always happy to answer. Let's flip this baby around. Oh, actually, so this is how I extend the body on this guy. Oh, sorry, I wasn't supposed to flip it. Yeah, I gotta lock it in first before I flip it around. I'm forgetting how I tie my own fly. I just want this to hang off the back, just like so. Right there looks pretty good, maybe. Yeah, right before it starts to bend, that's right about where I like to put this hook shank, or this Waddington shank. Yes, Infinite. I use pretty much all the feathers and material I use are all natural. So I use, schlappan feathers, pheasant feathers, ostrich. What else do I use? I use pine squirrel a lot and rabbit strip. So a lot of my materials are natural. Alright, just building the base for this fly right now. Make sure it's nice and solid. And I'll flip it around and make sure it's really locked in. This is the most important part here. Yes, I do have some wood duck. Yes, I do. I don't use it too often, but it has a really nice barring effect when you use it for your flies, so yes, absolutely. Another good base here. I'll put some super glue to lock that baby in. Although I'm running low, having to really squeeze the life out of this bottle to get super glue to come out. I think that's pretty much it. Gotta get the new one. But that'll work. Don't need too much. Just cover that up real quick. Alright, now I can flip it around. Since I want this hook point to stay at the front of the fly, it gets a little funky. I have to flip it around in order to start my materials from the back. again, just laying a nice thread base down. Really just building the hardware of this fly for this part. Gotta set a solid foundation. Now if you want to imitate this fly, I've said it before, but if you want to tie it for yourself, an easier way to do it is use a classic streamer hook, like the one you would use for a woolly bugger. And you can do the same thing I'm doing here. It makes it much easier. The only reason I don't like tying it on that is because when I'd use this fly for bass specifically, and they inhale this fly. So when they inhale it and the hook's all the way in the back, you know, it can tend to hook them deep in their throat, or, you know, I just don't like doing that. I don't like to see or have to dig my fly out of their throat like that. So I came up with this. It's a little more complicated, but it works better. It's nicer to the fish, you know, just being conservative and environmentally friendly with my designs. That's all this is. If I didn't have to, I wouldn't do it this way, but this is just me going the extra mile to be more conscious about how I'm fishing. So that's all it is. But if you're gonna do it for yourself and it works for you, just tie it on a woolly bugger hook, and it's the same exact thing. Same exact thing. All right. So first thing is going to be some peacock curl. Use the peacock curl to create the back shell. Grab yourself a pretty good little bunch here. I'm just taking out all the short ends out of here so that I can effectively lay all the long fibers across the back. And there's a couple of short ones right there, and those aren't gonna get caught on either end. This end doesn't really matter. I'm going to trim all that off anyway, so I'll just tie that in. Light wraps, you want to be gentle with it. It's easy to cut through these peacock curl fibers. And I'll fold it back into itself. Bring it forward. This is where you can put the tension on there. Is realism overrated in flies? For the most part, yes. Now it depends on how you effectively use realism. It's pretty cool. Like, I've seen some tires, you know, that tie up some very, very realistic that look exactly like the bug. You know, it's really cool. It's cool stuff to see. But does it actually fish? In my experience as a guide and a lifelong fly fisherman, the realistic flies don't really ever fish as well as some of the most simple flies. So I wouldn't say that they're overrated. It just depends on the application. It depends on what you're doing with them. For me personally, I'm using them to fish, so just from my experience, the realistic patterns don't often do so well. Now, like where I say there's some, that can be up for debate. Like a fly like this, it's a little bit complicated. I'm adding a little bit more effort into it to create realism, but it's more realism in the action of the fly and the movement versus just the way the fly looks. And let me my feathers here. That's a good question though. I like that. See if I can. I don't think I got a wide enough feather here. Got some long ones. Yes, I would say movement on the fly. The fly's action is what's more important than anything. The way the fly looks is important, the color and the size, but the actual action and the movement that the fly has in the water is what seems to really attract fish or not. See, that should be good. Hopefully, I think those will be, yeah, we'll go with that. I don't know, it's kind of short though. Hold on one second, guys. I think I need to grab a different patch here. Yeah, here we go. Got some better ones here. Yeah, there we go. That's a much better one. I'd rather have too much than too little, because once you start wrapping this, you can't go back. This type of fly, this is where it helps to be a little bit ambidextrous, because if you can switch hands and wrap with your left hand if you're right-handed, or your right hand if you're left-handed, it can really help you out here. Ooh, you know what? I forgot I was supposed to put my legs on first. Kitsu Kit has me distracted with all these questions. That's another good question. Are there conditions where realism would help? Again, it's still kind of the same thing. I just, doesn't matter the condition or the water type. It seems like realism just doesn't really, I don't know. It just doesn't have a place in my fly box, to put it simply. It does not work as well as, like some of the most effective patterns will be so simple. It doesn't have a lot of thought other than into how the fly fishes itself, but as far as it looking real, it doesn't look like anything. Sometimes some flies just look like, I don't know, just a clump of hair, and somehow it catches fish, so. In theory, I think that we, as anglers, we have a lot of theories of what works and why it works, but I don't know that we'll ever truly know, because we can't ever have a conversation with the fish. So we'll never know. Just my theory. Thanks for asking. Okay, so, well, now what I'm doing is laying the rubber legs in. I was supposed to do this first. This is supposed to be the first thing you do with this fly. to lay exactly where I want the rubber legs to be. The chenille wrap is going to I'll be able to position them exactly where I want them, but this is just to create durability because I haven't had good, good luck with the rubber legs being locked down with just the chenille. So I like to come in first with the thread wraps, lock it down, and then I can reposition them with the chenille wraps. So that's all I'm doing right now. I'm taking one strand of rubber legs, or a strand of rubber legs, and then just folding it in half because I want a ton of action in this fly, lots of movement, and lots of texture. Speaking of fish, when tying flies, do you take vision into account? Take fish vision into account? Yes, absolutely. Fish see differently than we do. So color theory is important. The way you blend colors actually does matter because fish can only see certain hues and certain colors, and that's affected by one, the way they see things, and two, the way light reflects underwater. So it's much different. The way it looks on your vise is going to look much different to the fish under the water. There's a lot of factors with that. A lot of different factors. But I will say, knowing color theory as an art is important, but it's much different when you are applying it to lure making and fly tying. If you don't know it, I would suggest definitely check it out. Learn the color wheel, learn color theory, and then once you apply the knowledge of how fish see underwater based on all this scientific stuff and studying fish, but essentially it comes down to the way light reflects underwater. This is not laying the way I want it to. That's where I think that's where, you hear those theories like dark day, dark fly, light day, light fly. I think that's where a lot of that stuff comes from, is because it's different reflections, different light reflections happening on those days, especially through the water. Okay, I want these rubber legs slightly underneath. Hey, there he is. There's David. Red turns to black in a certain depth. Yep. I know David knows. And chartreuse, like to us, this color right here, chartreuse, we see a bright green, but fish actually just see it as a bright white. So in murky situations, you want to use chartreuse, because it doesn't actually look green to the fish. It actually just looks like a much brighter white. What's a go-to night fly? Yeah, that really depends on what kind of fish you're going after. Really depends. tedious fly. But if you want the durability in this guy, it's just not really, I haven't figured out a way around all this tediousness. There. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna leave that there so I can wrap my, I haven't tried this yet. I'm gonna give it a shot though. I'm gonna wrap my materials up to where I can flip, once I get here to the hook bend, then I can flip my hook back over. Yeah, but I don't know if that's gonna work out well. I think I'll just keep going with it. Let's just keep going. Now that I think about it, that probably won't work. Let's just keep stacking these legs in here. We'll go from there. Is there a common trait I look for in all night flies, regardless of species? Depends on the water condition. If you've got clear water, I like to go with a dark fly, like black, with a decent amount of flash. If there's a lot of light going on for the night, like you got a full moon or clear skies, then you'll want to, I like a dark fly with a lot of flash in it. Black is kind of go-to for me, but dark browns, dark olives, anything like that will work. But again, that's when you start getting into specifics, like what species you might be going after. Other species of fish see better at night, so you don't need something that's bright and flashy. Other species don't see as well at night, so it'll just depend. There's different factors that come into play. Let's see how many stacks we got. 1, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. We'll stop there. Materials in. All right, now the tricky part here. Let's get these guys out of the way. Use my material clip here. I'm just going to pull these back. That at least helps get some of the legs out of the way so that I can have a cleaner wrap and I can make sure my materials are wrapped nice and tight. Let's see. where you want to make sure your legs are where they're at, where you want them to be. You can kind of lightly pull that chenille and then lightly pull the legs into position. Tight wraps just like you would do on a woolly bugger. And once you get up close, now I'm just going to release all this, just start weaving in between these legs here. Maybe. Let's see here, I can pull these. Yeah, those are going to go down that way. Those legs aren't in the position I want them to be. That's alright. Keep rolling with it. Thanks for the great questions. What's going on, Release? Thanks for stopping by. Just got into tying jigs. Nice, man. Jigs are fun. This guy is a little Helgermite imitation I use for bass, for smallmouth more specifically. This guy's a smallmouth slayer. Just a little tricky to get around and weave around these legs. The hardest part is the chenille, getting the chenille around the legs. The hackle seems pretty straightforward once I get the chenille in place. Then the rubber legs they have a clear position. I get my chenille in a bunch of different places. I like to get it from J Stockard or Avid Max is another good one. I like to get a lot of my materials from there if I'm doing online shopping. If not, I'll go get some stuff at the local fly shop. You know, just anywhere I can find it. There's a lot of different really good quality materials you can find online. Yeah, I've never bought any of those Amazon tying materials. I have seen them. They seem, you know, like a good deal because of the price, but I don't know. I've heard from many other people that that's not really the place. You don't want to go to Amazon to get your tying materials. There might be some good, you know, some good cheap deals you can find on there, but you know, for the most part, it's hard to find inexpensive materials that are good quality. However, I did make a video on my channel of where you can find cheap fly tying materials. So if you go on, if you're not subscribed to the channel already, check it out. You can go on there, and if you're you're looking for some good deals, some good finds, check out that video. Hey, what's up, Run? Have you had found some good finds on Amazon? Oh shit! No. Damn it! No, you stay there. Stay there. Stay there. Stay there. Ooh, that was close, guys. I thought I was about to lose all my chenille there. I thought I was about to lose it. Okay, so for the most part, my legs are where I want them. It's a little crazy under there, but that's all right. That's what we want with this pattern. Crazy-legged fly. Yeah, I do it. It doesn't matter how much time I spend on the vise, man. I do that so often because I'll be getting so zoned in on how the fly looks that I don't pay attention where my scissors are going. Oh, you found some good grizzly hackle on there, really. Interesting. See, now it's a little easier to do this hackle because now I can just pretty much weave in between where those rubber legs are. Just making sure I don't pin any of them down into a funky position like I might do right here. Nope, that looks good. The more I do this fly, the easier it gets, but there's really no easy way to do this guy. Alright, now let's get in front of these guys. And once you get the hang of this backwards hook placement, it's actually not too bad. What I do once I get past the hook bend with this hackle wrap, if you watch, what I do is I take my thumb and push that underneath, and then I can reach back, keep the pressure with my right hand, grab it with my left again, and then continue wrapping forward. Making sure these legs are out of the way. Same thing, tuck it under, pinch it, grab with the left, thread it through. And I'll just continue that through. Perfect. Made it through the hard part. Your funny release. But thank you. I appreciate you being here. Alright, like that. Nice and grizzly, super fuzzy. Now to lock it in with your thread, oh, I got it hooked on my, there we go. I'm just gonna keep a close thread wrap, go around, just like that. Just lead it with the point of your bobbin. You can wrap that around. Trim that baby off. There we go. Just gonna try to comb those fibers back. And actually now I can switch this guy around so I can get a cleaner wrap on that. I'm gonna flip it. And now we can do some normal fly tying again. Nice. Alright, so we got plenty of room to now fold this peacock crow back over. We can push down, well, before I do that, I'm going to push some of these fibers down and create a pathway. So I want all these barbs and legs to be underneath the fly. Oh, well, thanks, Release. Appreciate that. It's a great bobbin. Before this one, I didn't know that there was a such thing as a tension setter on a bobbin. Then when I got gifted this one, I was like, this is the only bobbin that I will ever need. Don't need any other kind of bobbin. So I'm just putting a little bit of pressure, a little tension on these fibers when I pull them forward. And then I'm going to push them down to make sure all the barbs from the grizzly hackle and the rubber legs are going underneath the fly. Just kind of pressing gently. And then do some light wraps, just a few, I'll probably do 5 or 6 light wraps just to hold it. I don't want to crank down on it right here. Then I'll cut these feathers. And I'll come forward. This is where I'll start putting some tension. Put some tension on there. Come back again and do the same thing. Light wraps. Come forward. Now put some tension. There we go. Close. Last step, I'm just going to add some antennas in here, color up the head a bit. Same thing that I did with the articulated streamer, I'm just going to create a little thread head to match the body. Great, I like how that looks. Just to get this out of the way, I like to trim this tail back here pretty short. Don't need a big tail. Make that nice and even. And I'll just continue with some light wraps to build up this head. Just same thing I did earlier. If you weren't in here, I'm just creating a cone shape. Stacking it up right by the materials and then coming down. Make sure those are good, man. Oh, dude, Run, you gotta get you one, man. I'm telling you, it just like, big difference, huge difference with having a tension setter on your bobbin. It's pretty awesome. That's a Rolls Royce bobbin. I like that. Hey, Ever Loving Outdoors, what's up, man? What's up, what's up? This one's not a jointed, but if you missed the earlier fly that I tied, this one was an articulated minnow pattern that I came up with for fall time brown trout. This one's a little jointed, and I just used some Senyos wire with some beads right there in the middle, if you can see those. And these beads they do two things. They act as weight here in the middle of the fly to balance out the head so that this fly rides vertically in the water column just like this. And then it also creates a really nice little pocket back there for this tail section to wiggle and swim and have a ton of room to do so. But yeah, that's what I tied up earlier. Really great trout streamer. Haven't tested it out on bass yet, but I imagine that it will do very well. Alright, let's tie some antennas on this guy. I'll leave him a little long at first. I can always trim them. I'm gonna go through and trim all these legs too. If you are tying this for yourself, you can leave them long. I have tried to fish it with the leg without trimming the legs, and it looks great. It's got a ton of action. Lock those guys in. Again, same thing, just light wraps. You don't want to squeeze those rubber legs, otherwise you will sever them off. You put some tension in the front, then again, come back, just do light, just to cover it up. Other than smallies and trout, next in line is pike. I like to target pike a lot, which usually when I'm going after smallies and pike, if I go to the lakes, they're on the same target list. They're in the same lakes that I fish, so I'll have a pike set up and then I'll have a smallmouth set up. But those pike are a little more elusive here in New Mexico, so they're not. I know a lot of people say in other places they don't like to catch pike because they're so easy. It's hard to keep them off your line, but here in New Mexico, they're a little bit more elusive. So when I have caught them, it's more of a trophy. It's pretty awesome. So I'm gonna be doing some pike fishing hopefully within the next few weeks. I'm looking to go to one of the rivers that has pike in it. So you might see some pike content here pretty soon. Yeah, that's a good buggy looking head there. No, I don't make pike lures, but the flies that I make, I actually got them right next to me here. Like this guy, I'll show you. Got a little rainbow trout imitation, much bigger streamer. Probably about a 6 or 7 inch fly. I'll use this guy for pike. And then I've got like a perch pattern here. This guy, I actually tested it out in the fall. I did catch some pike on it. I've got a little short, it's just a smaller pike, but definitely got to try it out more often for the big guys. But those are my pike flies. Hey, appreciate it, no frills. Ever loving, you like smallies too? a smallie fan. Interesting. Yeah, we had a lake like that here run. They used to stock tiger muskie in it to get rid of the goldfish that were in there. Somebody threw a bunch of goldfish that started to overpopulate in the lake, so they threw tiger muskie in there. It used to be a really great tiger muskie lake, but they're trying to turn it into a trout lake now that they've cut back or cut down the goldfish population, unfortunately. So they're still in there, but not like we used to. We used to go out there and catch 5, 6, 7 of them. Nice sized muskie. Okay, I'm just gonna trim these up a little bit. So I leave the back. I like to leave the back legs nice and long. So we'll start with the front first. Trim these up pretty short. Oh, dude, ever loving. There's nothing like those river smallies, man. That is my probably top favorite fish to catch. There's nothing like them. I mean, smallmouth in general are just a fun fish to catch, but something about the riverbred smallies, they're a different breed, man. They're something else. A lot of fun. I would love to go up to Ontario or Michigan and do some of that legendary smallmouth fishing that's out there. Alright, that looks pretty good. Let me hit this back thread wrap there. What's up, salami eater? Hey, Mr. Mike Campbell. It's good to see you, man. I haven't seen you in a while. Thanks for stopping by. Just gonna hit this with some UV. You mean a roach release? Said it looks like one of those bugs that you always see in the bathroom when you first turn the lights on in an apartment in Georgia. Sounds like a roach, and it does kind of look like one. Oh man. Hey, thanks, Mike.
Working.
Appreciate you, sir. This is a smallmouth, one of my favorite smallmouth flies right here. Salami eater. I've been tying flies, let's see, I don't know, it's been probably 6 or 7 years right now. On and off. On and off. the first few years I was pretty consistent with it, but the last couple I've been, kind of back and forth. I really just only tie when I need to stock up my boxes again. But now in the wintertime I try to tie a little bit more often. Spread that around a little bit. Get a little bit more into those fibers here in the top. This just creates a little bit more of that slimy, buggy look, but also some durability so that those sandpaper mouths won't tear through these fibers. It's called a house centipede. Okay, yeah. I mean, this thing does look like a centipede. The house centipede. I call this one the bass burger, so next time you see one, if you're in Georgia again, or if that's where you live, that's what you can call it. Call it a bass burger. How much does it cost to make one lure like this one? I don't know. Probably 50 cents is what it cost, the material cost that goes into this fly. Roughly. But now if you were to buy this fly from me, I would have to charge you 12 bucks. Just because of the time it takes to perfect this kind of fly. Yeah. 50 cents? Yeah. I would have to do the exact math, but yeah. It's not that expensive. Once you have your materials built up, and you have a collection of them, you can tie flies for pretty cheap. Where fly tying gets expensive is when you want to get creative and you want new materials and you keep buying new materials, and that's where they get you. That's where it can get expensive. Hey, well, I appreciate that, Ever Loving Outdoors. I mean, you've got 30 years of experience. I doubt I'm better than you. You're probably just being modest. No, Bay, go ahead, man. Like I said earlier, let me and post some pictures in the community on the SpiritFly channel. I'd like to see how your bass burger comes out. You were thinking 15. Yeah, I might be being a little bit conservative with 12, but yeah. No, I think 12 is pretty fair. It's not, it doesn't, like I said, it probably cost me 50 cents to tie this. Yeah, it takes me a little bit of time, but that's also why I stopped tying and selling flies, is because it takes me way too long. I pay attention to detail way too much. It doesn't work for me. I'm not a fast tyer, so. Hey Joe, if you got $5, you'll have a chance to, if you want this fly right here, you'll have a chance to win a free custom fly from me. So we've got 4 donations right now. We just need 6 more. If you donate a minimum of $5, I'll put your name in the drawing and you'll have a chance to win a free custom fly from me. Yeah, that might be accurate. But I don't know. This little bottle right here is only like, I think it's 18 bucks. Dude, this thing, I can tie, I don't know how many flies I've tied with this. I use a lot of UV resin to make these heads right here on these big pike flies. I've probably tied almost 2 dozen of those, another half dozen of these guys right here. And this tiny little bottle lasts a long time. So as expensive as UV seems to be per bottle, you can really stretch it out. It really lasts a long time. So I don't know. I would say it's definitely under $1 for this fly. It's not it's really not too expensive, especially if you source your materials from the right places. You find the good deals. You can really cut your costs down. You don't tie as consistently as me. I don't. I really don't tie that consistently. Not. I mean, this time of year I've tried to because I like to do the streaming and get on, hang out with you guys. I'll try to tie consistently that way. But otherwise, the only consistency on the vise for me comes from stocking up my guide box throughout the year. When I need some more flies, that's really about it. I'll sit down for maybe a couple days in a row and tie a bunch of flies that I'll need for the season, but then that's it. Then I won't tie for a few weeks or maybe even a month. Yeah, run. I was literally just looking at that catalog this morning. There's some really cool stuff in there. I saw they have the little what do they call them? They're the foam cutters. I thought those were so cool. Like you can buy a whole set of them. You can cut little frog shapes, little hellgrammite shapes. I was looking at those cutters. I'm like, I'm gonna have to get me some of those. That's funny. But all right, guys, I'm gonna hop off here. Appreciate you guys coming in. Thank you guys for being here. I will definitely be streaming a couple times this week, so keep an eye out. If you don't have those notifications turned on, please turn them on for me. And if you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. But otherwise, if you're already subscribed to the channel, I appreciate you guys for being here. We'll catch you in the next one.